The night shift at Jupiter Monitoring Station was usually quiet. Most operators spent their time watching endless streams of data from deep space sensors, broken only by the occasional burst of solar activity. But tonight was different. Tom Miller had been staring at his screen for 6 hours when the first anomaly appeared. At first, he thought his tired eyes were playing tricks on him. The energy readings near Jupiter's orbit didn't make sense. They were too structured, too regular to be natural. "Hey, anyone else seeing this?" Tom called out to his colleagues. He adjusted his thick-rimmed glasses and leaned closer to the screen. The strange energy patterns were growing stronger. Jane Roberts, his supervisor, walked over to his station. She took one look at the readings and immediately reached for the emergency phone. Within minutes, the quiet station transformed into a hub of intense activity. The Earth Defense Fleet's flagship, Star Guardian, received the alert while patrolling the Mars orbit. Captain James stood on the bridge, his experienced eyes studying the preliminary report. 25 years in space had taught him to trust his instincts, and right now, they were screaming that this was important. Navigation. Set course for the anomaly. All hands to battle stations, but weapons remain powered down, he ordered. The captain knew that first contact situations required a delicate balance between caution and peaceful intentions. The Star Guardian's engines hummed to life, pushing the massive ship toward Jupiter. 3 other Earth vessels joined their formation. Standard protocol for unknown situations. As they approached the coordinates, the ship's advanced sensors painted a clearer picture of what awaited them. "Sir, I'm detecting 15 vessels, all approximately 2 kilometers in length," reported Officer Wilson from his sensor station. "They appear to be running on minimal power. I'm also picking up thousands of life signs." Captain James felt his heart rate increase. This wasn't just first contact. This was a potential rescue situation. The alien ships hung in space like dark islands, their shapes unlike anything humans had seen before. Their hulls were smooth and curved, almost organic in appearance, with faint lines of light pulsing along their sides. "Open all standard communication frequencies," James ordered. "Let's see if anyone's home." For 10 tense minutes, they'd broadcast greetings in all known formats: radio waves, light signals, even basic mathematical sequences. The bridge crew held their breath, waiting for any response. When it came, the answer wasn't what anyone expected. Instead of a formal greeting, they received what could only be described as a cry for help. The message, transmitted in simple binary code, translated to "power failing. Life support critical. Please assist." Captain James didn't hesitate. "Move us closer, but maintain safe distance. Launch sensor probes. I want to know everything about those ships in the next 5 minutes." The probe's data painted a grim picture. The alien vessels were running on emergency power, their main systems completely dark. Whatever powered these massive ships had failed, leaving thousands of lives hanging by a thread. "Sir," Officer Wilson called out, his voice tight with excitement, "we're receiving a video transmission." The main screen flickered to life, revealing a sight that would be remembered in human history forever. The alien was humanoid, but its skin had a slight blue tinge, and its eyes were larger than human ones, adapted for low-light conditions. When it spoke, its words were translated by the computer. "I am Commander Blue of the Bright One Fleet," the alien said, its voice carrying both authority and desperation. "Our quantum drive cores were damaged by an unexpected solar flare. Without main power, our life support systems will fail. We have nowhere else to turn." Captain James stood straighter, knowing his next words would shape humanity's first official contact with an alien species. "I am Captain James of the Earth Defense Fleet. We stand ready to assist." The relief on Commander Blue's face was unmistakable, even across species. "Your willingness to help strangers gives us hope. But I must warn you, our technology is complex, and our needs are great. That's what humans do best." James replied with a slight smile. "We solve complex problems. Send us your ship's data. Let's start saving lives." As the information began flowing between the ships, Captain James looked at his crew. Every face showed the same determination. Today, humanity would prove itself not through war or conquest, but through compassion and ingenuity. The rescue of the century was about to begin. The next 12 hours aboard the Star Guardian were the busiest in the ship's history. Engineers worked non-stop to understand the alien technology, while medical teams prepared for possible emergency evacuations. Captain James hadn't slept since first contact, and he didn't plan to anytime soon. "Show me the numbers again," he asked Officer Wilson, who was coordinating with the alien fleet. Wilson pulled up the holographic display. 15 ships, each carrying around 2,000 bright ones. Their life support systems are running on backup power, which gives us approximately 3 Earth weeks before total failure. The good news is their hibernation technology is keeping most of their people safe for now. The bad news came from Dr. Baker, the ship's chief engineer. She walked onto the bridge, holding a tablet filled with technical data. Her usual confident expression was replaced with concern. "Captain, I've reviewed their quantum drive specifications," she said, running a hand through her gray hair. "It's both amazing and terrifying. Their technology is about 50 years ahead of ours, but the principles are similar to our fusion drives. The problem is, we can't just jump-start their engines like an old car." Captain James nodded. "Explain it simply, Doctor." Their quantum cores were perfectly aligned, all 15 ships connected in a power-sharing network. When the solar flare hit, it knocked them all out of alignment. It's like a house of cards. One falls, they all fall. Commander Blue's image appeared on the main screen, joining the conversation. The alien leader looked tired, the blue tinge of their skin slightly paler than before. "What my friend Dr. Baker says is correct," Blue said. "Our fleet's power system was our greatest strength, but now it's our greatest weakness. We were fleeing our dying star system when the flare hit. We had no choice but to evacuate quickly, and now we're paying the price for our haste." A junior engineer named Pete rushed onto the bridge, almost tripping over his own feet. "Captain, Doctor, I think I found something." His excitement was contagious as he connected his tablet to the main display. "Look here," Pete pointed to a diagram. "Their quantum cores work on a resonance frequency, like musical instruments playing in harmony. The solar flare didn't just knock out their power, it changed their core frequencies. They can't restart because they're all playing different songs." Dr. Baker's eyes widened. "Of course, we don't need to restart their cores. We need to retune them first." But Commander Blue shook their head. "Impossible. The retuning process requires more power than our emergency systems can provide. Without main power, we cannot retune the cores. Without retuned cores, we cannot restore main power." "A classic catch-22, Captain James muttered, then noticed the confused looks from the aliens. "An impossible situation where solving one problem requires first solving the other." The bridge fell silent as the weight of the situation sank in. 30,000 alien lives hung in the balance, and Earth's best minds were stumped by their advanced technology. Then Officer Wilson spoke up. "What about the orbital power stations? Earth has 7 of them now, each one capable of powering the small city." "Not enough power," Dr. Baker started to say, but Pete interrupted. "Wait. The stations work together in a network, just like the alien ships did. What if we could use Earth's power grid as a template? Like tuning forks. Use our power frequency to help their cores find harmony again." Commander Blue's large eyes blinked rapidly. "You would risk your planetary power grid to help us." "We're not going to let 30,000 people die if we can help it," Captain James said firmly. "No matter where they're from." Dr. Baker was already running calculations. "It's possible, but dangerous. One wrong move and we could knock out power to half of Earth, and we'd need permission from the World Council." Captain James straightened his uniform. "Then we better be very convincing. Wilson, send a priority message to Earth. Doctor, work with Pete and the alien engineers. I want a detailed plan in 6 hours. Commander Blue, we'll need complete access to your ship's specifications." As the bridge erupted into activity, Captain James looked out at the massive alien ships floating silently in space. They had 3 weeks to solve an impossible problem with technology they barely understood. But as he watched his crew work with determined expressions, he knew that humanity's greatest strengths were about to be tested: innovation, cooperation, and the unwavering desire to help those in need. The real challenge was just beginning. The World Council's emergency meeting took less than an hour to reach a decision. The vote was unanimous. Earth would help the bright ones. Now, 3 days after first contact, the real work began. The Star Guardian's main cargo bay had been transformed into a joint command center. Holographic displays showed the power signatures of both the alien fleet and Earth's orbital power stations. Dr. Baker stood before a mixed group of human and alien engineers, all focused on solving the power crisis. "The plan is complex but possible," she explained, pointing to the display. "We'll use Earth's 7 power stations as anchor points. Each station will transmit energy at a specific frequency, creating a power web." Pete, who had been promoted to lead the human engineering team, stepped forward. "Think of it like a spider web made of energy. The alien ships will sit at key points in the web. When we activate the power stations, the web will help their quantum cores find their original harmony." One of the alien engineers, whose skin was a deeper blue than the others, raised a hand. "But the power requirements are enormous. Your stations were not designed for this. That's why we're going to do it in stages," Pete replied. He touched the display, and 15 red dots appeared, representing the alien ships. "We'll start with one ship, then use its restored power to help tune the next, and so on. Like dominoes, but in reverse." Captain James watched from the back of the room. The plan was risky. One mistake could overload Earth's power grid or worse, damage the alien ships beyond repair. But they were running out of options and time. Commander Blue stood beside him, their large eyes reflecting the holographic lights. "Your people work quickly, Captain. In just 3 days, they've learned more about our quantum technology than many species learn in years." "Necessity is a great teacher," James replied. "And we're motivated. No one wants to see your people suffer." The planning session was interrupted by a warning alarm. Officer Wilson's voice came over the intercom. "Captain, to the bridge, immediately." James and Blue rushed to the bridge, where Wilson pointed to a sensor display. "Sir, the life support systems on the 3rd ship are failing faster than expected. We've lost about 6 hours of our safety margin." Commander Blue's skin paled. "That ship carries our youngest. The children's section requires more life support power than other areas." The news spread quickly through the ship. Within minutes, Dr. Baker and Pete arrived on the bridge, out of breath. "We need to start now," Dr. Baker said firmly. "The plan isn't perfect, but we're out of time." Captain James looked at the data one last time. "What are our chances, if everything goes perfectly?" 70% success rate, Pete answered. "If we wait another day." The numbers dropped to 40% or lower. James pressed the ship-wide communication button. "All hands, this is the captain. I want every engineer, every technician, and every person with relevant skills ready to work. We start in 1 hour." The next 60 minutes were a blur of activity. Earth's power stations began their power-up sequences. The Star Guardian's crew worked with their alien counterparts, double and triple checking every calculation. Dr. Baker set up her control station, surrounded by monitors. First ship selected. Power web initializing. "Pete, are you ready at Station 1? "Ready," Pete's voice came through the comm. He was aboard the first alien ship, working directly with their engineers. "Core frequency monitors are online. We're as ready as we'll ever be." Captain James stood at his command station, watching as the massive operation began. Commander Blue stood beside him, both leaders knowing they were about to attempt something never done before. "Start power-up sequence," James ordered. Nice and slow. Let's bring these ships back to life. The space around them began to glow as Earth's power stations activated. Streams of energy, visible to the naked eye, started forming the predicted web pattern. The first alien ship, their test subject, sat at the center of the web. As the energy built up around them, Captain James thought about the 30,000 lives depending on this plan. They had one chance to get this right. Either they'd make history as the species that saved the bright ones, or they'd be remembered as the ones who failed when it mattered most. The real test was about to begin. The first attempt to power up an alien ship failed spectacularly. As energy from Earth's power stations flowed into the quantum core, alarms blared across both human and alien vessels. The power web, instead of forming a stable pattern, flickered wildly like lightning in a storm. "Shut it down," Dr. Baker shouted. "Something's wrong with the frequency match." Pete's voice crackled over the comm from inside the alien ship. "The core's rejecting the power. It's like it's fighting against the restart." Captain James watched as the energy web collapsed, leaving them back at square one. Commander Blue's expression was grim. "We've lost 2 hours, and the children's ship now shows critical readings in 3 sections." Dr. Baker rushed to analyze the data from their failed attempt. Her hands flew over the controls, bringing up diagram after diagram. "This doesn't make sense. All our calculations were perfect. The core should have accepted the power." Then Officer Wilson noticed something strange on his security monitors. "Captain, you need to see this." He brought up footage from inside the alien ship, showing a brief moment before the power transfer began. A dark figure had accessed a control panel, made quick adjustments, and disappeared. Commander Blue leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "That's not an authorized access point. Someone deliberately changed the core's reception frequency." "Sabotage," James said quietly. "But why?" The answer came in the form of an unauthorized transmission that broke through their communications. A deep, angry voice filled the bridge. "We cannot trust the humans. Their power will make us dependent on them. Better to face our fate with dignity than become their servants." Commander Blue's skin darkened with what James had learned was their version of anger. "That's Lead Engineer Black. He's part of a small faction that believes accepting help from other species makes us weak." "Sir," Pete's voice came through again. "The children's ship just lost another life support section. We have maybe 10 hours left, not the 20 we thought." Captain James made a quick decision. "Dr. Baker, how long to recalibrate if we bypass the compromised systems?" 3 hours, minimum," she replied. "But we'll need direct access to the core controls. No remote operation. Which means someone has to go into each ship manually," Pete added, "through sections that might have failing life support." James looked at Commander Blue. "Your engineer might have done us a favor. Now we know why it failed. Can your people identify any other potential saboteurs?" Blue nodded. "We will begin security sweeps immediately." "But Captain, the children's ship will be our first target," James finished. "Pete, gather a team. We're going to do this the hard way. Ship by ship, core by core. Dr. Baker, simplify the power transfer. We don't need to restore them to full power, just enough to stabilize life support." The next few hours were intense. Human engineers in spacesuits worked alongside loyal Bright One technicians, manually checking and adjusting each system. They found and corrected 3 more instances of sabotage, each time racing against failing life support systems. The breakthrough came from an unexpected source. Engineer Black himself contacted the bridge, his voice different now, afraid. "The children's section. My grandchild is there," he admitted. "I was wrong. Please, let me help. I know how to reverse what I did." Captain James looked at Commander Blue, who gave a slight nod. "Actions have consequences," James said to Black. "But right now, saving lives is all that matters. Tell us what you know." Black's information proved invaluable. The sabotage wasn't just at the access points. He had modified the core's basic recognition protocols. With his help, They quickly developed a new power transfer sequence. Power web reforming, Dr. Baker announced. Core frequency alignment at 60%, 75%, 89%. Everyone on the bridge held their breath as the energy flowed into the first ship's quantum core. This time, instead of rejection, the core began to hum with a deep, harmonious sound. "It's working," Pete shouted over the comm. "The core is accepting the power. Life support is stabilizing." A cheer went up from both human and alien crews, but Captain James remained focused. "One down, 14 to go," he said. "And we're still running out of time." They had proven it was possible. Now they just had to do it 14 more times, each one a race against failing life support systems. The real question was, would Engineer Black's help be enough to save them all? "Next ship," James ordered. "Let's move." The rescue operation had turned into a strange kind of dance. Human engineers and Bright One technicians moved from ship to ship, working together in a rhythm they had developed over the last 10 hours. 4 ships were now running on partial power, their life support systems stable. But the children's ship was still struggling, and 11 others remained powerless. Engineer Black worked tirelessly alongside Pete, trying to make up for his earlier sabotage. They had just finished stabilizing the 4th ship when Black suddenly stopped working and stared at his datapad. "This can't be right," he said, his voice shaking. "The power readings, they're better than before the solar flare." Dr. Baker floated over in her spacesuit to look at his readings. "He's right, Captain," she called over the comm. "Each ship we restore is running at 110% efficiency. The human power web isn't just restarting their cores, it's improving them." Captain James turned to Commander Blue on the bridge. "Is this possible?" Blue's large eyes were wide with surprise. "Our quantum cores were designed to work in harmony, sharing power. But your power web, it's creating a stronger harmony than we ever achieved." "Like an orchestra," Pete said excitedly. "We're not just getting the instruments to play together, we're making them play better." But the moment of discovery was interrupted by an alarm from the children's ship. Officer Wilson's voice was tense. "Life support failing in the main nursery section. We have less than 2 hours." "Change of plans," James announced. "Dr. Baker, Pete, Black, forget about full restoration. Get to the children's ship. Focus only on the critical sections." As the engineering team rushed to the struggling ship, Black shared a revelation. "Captain, I understand now why my people feared accepting help. We thought being helped meant being weak, being controlled. But you humans, you don't just help. You improve. You make things better than they were." The next hour was the most intense yet. The engineering team split into 3 groups, each taking a different section of the children's ship. They worked with desperate speed, manually adjusting systems and rerouting emergency power. Pete's voice came through, breathless. "Main nursery located, but the air's getting thin in here. Life support's almost gone." "The power web is ready," Dr. Baker reported. "But we've never tried focusing it on just part of a ship before." Captain James looked at Commander Blue, who nodded. "Do it," James ordered. "Full power to the nursery section." The energy web shifted, concentrating its power into a bright point that connected with the nursery's local systems. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the ship's lights flickered, and a soft hum filled the air. "Life support stabilizing." Pete cheered. "We did it. The kids are safe." But their celebration was cut short by a new problem. The power web, strained by the focused energy transfer, began to fluctuate wildly. "The web is collapsing," Dr. Baker warned. "The power stations can't handle this pattern." That's when Engineer Black made a decision. He accessed the quantum core of the ship they had just saved and made a quick adjustment. Suddenly, the core's energy joined the human power web, strengthening it. "Of course," Dr. Baker exclaimed. "Each ship we save can add its power to the web. We're not just rescuing them, we're making the rescue easier with each ship." The next few minutes proved her right, with the children's ship adding its power to the web. Stabilizing the next ship was faster and easier. That ship's power then joined the web too, making the next rescue even smoother. Captain James watched the power readings climb with each successful restoration. They had found more than just a way to save the bright ones. They had discovered a whole new way for humans and aliens to work together. "I was wrong about humans," Black admitted to Commander Blue. "They don't help because they want to control us. They help because that's who they are. And they make everyone around them better in the process." James smiled at the alien engineer's words, but kept his focus on the task ahead. They still had 9 ships to save, but now they had a proven method and growing strength. The impossible rescue wasn't just possible anymore. It was actually working. And something even more important was happening. 2 species were learning that together. They were stronger than they ever could be alone. "Next ship," James ordered, confidence in his voice. "Let's bring them all home." With 6 ships now restored and adding their power to the human energy web, the rescue operation had found its rhythm. Each successful restoration made the next one easier, but time was still their enemy. 8 ships remained without power, their life support systems running on borrowed time. Captain James studied the latest readings from his command chair. Status report. Earth's power stations are at 85% capacity, Officer Wilson reported. The combined human-alien power web is stable. Dr. Baker says we can restore 3 more ships before we need to let the stations cool down. Commander Blue stood beside James, watching the operation unfold. "My people are still amazed. Each restored ship runs better than before. Our quantum cores haven't been this efficient since they were first built." The peaceful moment was shattered by multiple alarms. Red warnings flashed across every screen on the bridge. "Power spike in the stations." Dr. Baker's voice came through, panicked. "The web is destabilizing." Pete's voice joined in. "The restored ship's cores are fluctuating. Something's wrong with the harmony." Engineer Black, who had been monitoring the power frequencies, suddenly understood. "The solar flare. Another one is coming. We can detect them before your sensors because of our quantum cores." Captain James jumped to action. "How long?" "Minutes," Black replied. "If it hits us now, with the power web active and ships mid-restoration, we could lose everything. Both the restored ships and the ones we haven't saved yet." The bridge erupted in activity. They had 2 impossible choices: disconnect the power web and save the restored ships but doom the others, or risk everything to complete the rescue. James looked at Commander Blue. "Your call. They're your people." Blue's skin shifted colors as they thought, then steadied. "We trust you, Captain. All or none." James nodded. "Dr. Baker, divert all power to restoration. Pete, Black, prepare for simultaneous power-up of all remaining ships. Wilson, get me Earth Command." "But sir," Wilson protested, "simultaneous restoration wasn't part of the plan." "The power requirements will be enormous," James finished. "That's why we need Earth's help. All of it." Earth Command responded immediately. James' request was bold. "We need everything. Every power station, every backup generator, every solar array. Give us everything you've got, just for 5 minutes." The response came back. "Granted. Earth is going dark for 5 minutes. Make them count." Across the planet, cities began powering down. The energy web above grew stronger, brighter, fed by the combined power of an entire world. All ships linked. Pete reported. "Power web at maximum capacity. Core frequencies aligned." Black added. "Ready for simultaneous restoration." Dr. Baker's voice was tense. "Solar flare approaching. 2 minutes to impact." James took a deep breath. "Begin final restoration. All ships, all cores, right now." The space around them lit up like a new sun as the massive power transfer began. The energy web, now pulsing with the combined power of Earth and 6 restored alien ships, connected with the remaining 8 vessels. Warning alarms screamed from every console. The ship shuddered. On Earth, entire continents went dark as every bit of power flowed into the rescue operation. Core responses critical. Black shouted. The harmony is barely holding. 1 minute to solar flare impact. Dr. Baker warned. Keep it together, James ordered. Just a few more seconds. The next moments felt like hours. Then, one by one, the remaining ship's quantum cores sprang to life. Each one added its power to the web, strengthening the whole. Flare incoming. Wilson called out. All ships restored. Peak yelled triumphantly. Full power achieved. Energy web collapse in 3, 2, 1. Dr. Baker counted down. Just as the solar flare reached them, the energy web collapsed. But this time, all 15 alien ships had their shields up, their cores running at full power. The flare washed over them harmlessly. The bridge was silent for a moment. Then cheers erupted from both human and alien crews. They had done it. All 15 ships were saved, their cores running better than ever. Earth's lights began coming back on as power was restored. Captain James smiled at Commander Blue. Welcome back to full power. Blue's skin glowed with joy. No, Captain. Not back to full power. Thanks to humanity, we're beyond full power. You didn't just save us. You made us better. The rescue was complete, but as James looked at the restored alien fleet, he knew this was just the beginning. Humanity had proven itself to the stars, not through warfare or technology, but through their unwavering determination to help others in need. The greatest adventure was about to begin. 1 week after the Great Rescue, Earth's orbital space had become a spectacular sight. 15 alien ships hung in perfect formation around the planet, their newly enhanced quantum cores pulsing with bright, harmonious energy. The Star Guardian floated among them, looking tiny in comparison but radiating pride. Captain James stood in the observation deck, watching shuttles move between the ships as humans and Bright Ones worked together on various projects. Commander Blue joined him, carrying a small crystalline device. Our council has reached a unanimous decision, Blue said, holding out the crystal. This contains the complete designs for our quantum core technology. We offer it freely to humanity, along with our help in building them. James looked at the crystal with surprise. That's incredibly generous. Are you sure your people agree with this? Engineer Black, who had also joined them, spoke up. More than agree, Captain. Even our most cautious members voted for it. You humans had the power to let the failing ships die, to only save a few, or to demand payment for help. Instead, you risked everything to save everyone. And you made our technology better in the process. Dr. Baker and Pete burst into the observation deck, both excited about something new they had discovered. Captain, you won't believe this, Pete exclaimed. We've been studying the combined power web design. If we adapt it to Earth's power grid, we could increase global energy efficiency by 300%. Dr. Baker nodded enthusiastically. The Bright One's quantum harmonics, combined with our power distribution methods, we could solve Earth's energy crisis within a year. Commander Blue's skin rippled with colors of joy. And that's just the beginning. Our scientists have been analyzing your methods of problem solving. Your species doesn't just think outside the box. You rebuild the box into something better. Officer Wilson's voice came over the intercom. Captain, you'll want to see this. We're receiving transmissions from at least 12 different alien civilizations. Word about the rescue has spread. They all want to open diplomatic relations with Earth. James smiled. Humanity's first major interaction with alien life hadn't been a war, a trade deal, or a cold political alliance. It had been a rescue mission, one that showed the best of what humans could be. There's more, Blue added. The galactic community has a tradition. When a new species proves itself worthy of joining interstellar society, they are given a title. Thanks to your actions, Humans are being called the uplifters, those who help others rise higher than before. The observation deck grew crowded as more people arrived. The bridge crew, engineering teams, and representatives from both species gathered to watch Earth's sunset together. The planet below was fully lit again, its power grid now enhanced by the lessons learned during the rescue. "What happens now?" Pete asked, still holding his tablet full of new ideas and discoveries. Captain James looked at the gathered crowd, humans and aliens working together, sharing ideas, building something new. Now we keep doing what humans do best. We explore, we help, we improve, we lift each other up. Commander Blue raised their hand in a formal gesture. The stars themselves will remember what happened here. The day when a young species, barely reaching into space, chose to risk everything to save strangers. You could have turned away. Instead, you lifted up an entire civilization and made us better than we were. "And we're better for it too," James replied. "Every time we help others, we learn, we grow, we improve." Earth's sun set behind the planet, but the observation deck remained bright. The quantum cores of the alien fleet pulsed with their new, stronger harmony, a harmony discovered through cooperation between two species that had been strangers just days ago. A young human engineer spoke up from the back of the room. "So what's our first mission as part of the galactic community?" James and Blue shared a knowing look. The commander held up a star chart showing the distant distress signal. "There's always someone who needs help out there. Ready for another rescue mission?" The humans and aliens gathered in the room responded as one. "Ready." As the Star Guardian prepared for its next mission, James thought about how far they'd come. Humanity had taken its first steps into a larger universe, not through conquest or competition, but through compassion and cooperation. They were the uplifters now, and the galaxy was a better place for it. The greatest chapter in human history wasn't ending. It was just beginning.